The Vatican, a city within a city, a kingdom of faith built on stone and secrets. For centuries, its walls have witnessed the rise and fall of empires, guarding wisdom and frailty alike. Beneath gilded domes and within sealed archives, history is not just recorded, it is curated, protected, sometimes buried. Deep within this fortress, a story stirs, not of saints but of men who walk the hallowed halls of power. Behind the Vatican's magnificent facade, a different kind of power is at play, ancient, unseen. The world looks here for guidance, for moral clarity, for a connection to the divine. But what if that monolith has cracks? The whispers suggest true governance happens not in the apostolic palace, but in rooms without names, a governance of shadows. Now, on June 22nd, 2025, the whispers have found a voice. A confession has emerged from the darkness, a testament from Cardinal Tagle. His name is now tied to a revelation so profound it threatens the Vatican's foundations. The world holds its breath, waiting for the echoes to reveal what has been hidden for so long. The story of the Vatican Shadow Council is about to be told. Secrets are surfacing, the ancient walls are listening, and the world is watching. The silence is over. The document arrived quietly, not on the altar, but in the digital ether-encrypted files passed between journalists and Vatican insiders. Its authenticity was debated, but its details were too precise to ignore. Purportedly, it was Cardinal Tagle's personal confession, a raw account of his journey into the Vatican's hidden power structure, not written for the public, but as a release for a tormented soul. The text was stark, personal, a man wrestling with faith and ambition. It described secret meetings in secluded Vatican apartments. Tagle was summoned, chosen, not by his peers, but by a council beyond canon law. His silence, the document claimed, was the price of his assent. His influence depended on complicity with this unseen authority. The world waited for his denial. None came, only silence from his office. Sources described him as changed, withdrawn yet strangely serene. The leak, they hinted, was a calculated release, a way for the confession to see light without facing immediate Vatican retribution. It was an act of rebellion disguised as weakness, a strategic surrender that felt like a declaration of war against the shadows. The document reads like the letters of a desert father, grappling with internal and external demons. Tagle does not paint himself as a hero, but as a man who made a choice for the greater good of a fractured church, to maintain stability, to steer the ship through stormy seas. But the confession reveals the true cost, the slow erosion of his spirit, the realization that the power he wielded was never truly his own. The confession is a message in a bottle, cast into turbulent waters, and now the world is reading. What is the Shadow Council? Legend says it's as old as the Vatican itself, a whispered myth among clerics. It has many names: the Octagon, the Cabal of St. Pius, the Consistory of Shadows. Stories describe a small, self-perpetuating group of cardinals and lay nobility, true kingmakers, silent puppeteers. They influence papal elections, doctrinal shifts, and the Vatican's vast finances. Fact or fiction, the idea grips the imagination, a primal fear that institutions we trust are not what they seem. Historians point to inexplicable events, sudden papal resignations, mysterious deaths, the rise of obscure figures. The Shadow Council legend offers a thread connecting these events, a hidden hand moving pieces on a global chessboard. Tagle's confession gives the legend new substance. The Council is not a group of conspirators in catacombs, but a sophisticated part of the Vatican's deep state. Men of faith, but with a ruthless understanding of power. They see themselves as protectors, making hard decisions popes cannot. Their existence, if true, would reframe 2,000 years of history. It would suggest the Holy Spirit has had help, secret human help. Is the Shadow Council a necessary evil or a betrayal of Christ's teachings? Tagle's confession doesn't answer. It only makes the question impossible to ignore. The mystery deepens. The deal, as outlined in the confession, was brutally simple: a pact of silence. Tagle, a rising star, was both opportunity and threat to the Shadow Council. His popularity could be a tool, his independence a danger. They made him an offer, a command disguised as choice. He would be given a clear path, obstacles removed, his voice amplified, access to power influence over policy protection from infighting, the chance to do good on a scale he'd only dreamed of. All he had to do was agree to their terms. The price, his silence. He would turn a blind eye to certain dealings, accept decisions he questioned, endorse candidates chosen for loyalty, not piety. He would become a gatekeeper, a public face for a hidden agenda, never speak of the council, never acknowledge its existence. He was to become part of the silence, part of the shadow. The pact was not a bribe of money, but a temptation aimed at his virtue. The council weaponized his desire to serve, presenting the pact as a necessary sacrifice, a compromise for the greater good. Surrender a piece of conscience to save the world. In a moment of profound conflict, he accepted. The silence became his burden, and the cost, his soul. Oh, the power granted to Tagle was immense, yet subtle. The power of influence, not decree. His proposals found favor, his appointments approved, his words carried new weight. He became a current in the river, guiding its flow from within. Influence over papal decisions, drafts of encyclicals on his desk, his amendments shaping doctrine. He was a co-pilot beside the Pope, his presence known only to a select few. In exchange, his silence had to be absolute. He learned of financial arrangements that contradicted church teachings, saw traditions manipulated, good men sidelined. Each time he held his tongue, smiled for the cameras, preached transparency while living in secrecy. The power felt hollow, a gilded cage built from compromise. The deal was a trade moral authority for practical power. He could do good, but only through a structure built on deception. He became a prince of the church, not a shepherd, but a manager for a hidden board. The bargain gave him the world, but he felt his soul slipping away. The confession is clear. The cost was too high. Power without truth is a prison. The Tagle confession sent shockwaves through the Catholic world, splitting it in two. Traditionalists called it heresy, a scandalous betrayal, an attack on the church's sacred governance. They declared the document a fabrication, demanded condemnation, and saw Tagle's silence as guilt. For them, the alleged pact was a straightforward deal with darkness. Modernists and realists, however, saw validation, a deeper truth they'd long suspected. They'd witnessed Vatican bureaucracy, political maneuvering, resistance to reform. The idea of a hidden power structure seemed plausible, even necessary. Tagle was seen as a tragic figure, not a heretic. The deal was not evil, but a reflection of immense institutional pressure. Some called it realpolitik, a desperate measure for desperate times. Perhaps the council was a necessary evil to keep the church from splintering. Tagle's choice was not between good and evil, but between two compromises. His confession was a cry for help, a warning from inside the machine. The church's soul was on trial, and the world was watching. Is it heresy to do what's necessary to survive? Defenders of the pact call it stewardship, not corruption. The church, they argue, is a global institution beset by enemies. Survival requires strategy, pragmatism, and sometimes shadowy deals. History is full of popes making alliances, signing concordats, engaging in realpolitik. The shadow council, in this view, is the modern form of an ancient practice. Elders making hard decisions to keep the ship afloat. Tagle's deal was seen as mature responsibility, dirtying his hands to keep the faith pure. Critics call this the heresy of survival. The moment the church adopts secrecy and power politics, it ceases to be the church. Its mission is not survival at all costs, but to bear witness to the gospel, humility, service, transparency. Christ did not establish a secret council. He washed feet in the open. A hidden power structure, no matter how well-intentioned, is a betrayal of that principle. The Tagle confession forces the church to confront its identity kingdom of this world or the next. For centuries, a few have decided it must be both. To secure the next world, the church must master power in this one. For many, this is a chilling revelation. The game is survival, but at what cost? Beyond politics and theology, this is the story of a man. Tagle's confession is a portrait of emotional struggle, a man living a divided life. In public, a beloved pastor; in private, a prisoner of his own success, haunted by the secret that enabled it. Sleepless nights, empty prayers, loneliness. His power a constant reminder of its price. Writing the confession was liberation, a desperate attempt to reclaim integrity. The words are those of a penitent, not a politician. He expresses sorrow, not pride, for the compromise that made his influence possible. The burden of secrecy was a stone on his heart. With each word it crumbled. Since the leak he is changed, calm, exposed but at peace. The relief is immense, a spiritual exhalation after years of holding his breath. This is not just about a hidden council, but a soul grappling with ambition and conscience. Tagle's journey mirrors the church's own struggle. His relief comes not from victory, but from surrender to truth. The mystery remains. The Vatican is silent, Tagle is in seclusion. The world is left with echoes of his confession, a revelation and a riddle. Was this a genuine confession, a tormented man seeking peace, or a calculated strike against the Shadow Council? Has Tagle destabilized the power structure, forcing a reckoning? The confession leaves us suspended between tragedy and revolution. It's a reflection on faith, power, and human fallibility. The final question is not whether the confession is true, but what it means. A crack has appeared in the Vatican's ancient walls. Through it, the world peers, waiting for more secrets to surface. The mystery is unresolved, and perhaps it's meant to be. Please subscribe to our channel, History Documentary Hub, for more insightful videos and intriguing content.